How often to feed kittens? Expert feeding schedule. When you bring a kitten home, one of the main concerns is how often and how much to feed them. These questions are important to ensure that the kitten grows up healthy. The amount of food a kitten needs depends on its age, breed, activity level, and the type of food. Generally, kittens should be fed 3 to 5 times a day. The exact amount can be found on the food packaging, which provides guidelines based on the kitten's age. Kittens up to 4 weeks old typically need around 3 to 5 pouches of kitten food per day, with each pouch containing approximately 85 grams of food. You can also feed kittens a mix of wet and dry food. If you do, it's recommended to substitute one wet pouch with 20 to 25 grams of dry food, ensuring they get enough nutrition. Kittens' feeding schedules vary depending on their age. Up to 1 month old, kittens should only rely on their mother's milk for nourishment, and no additional feeding is required. From 1 to 2 months old, kittens begin transitioning to solid food, both wet and dry. Free feeding is acceptable during this stage, though you might need to moisten dry food to help them adjust. From 2 to 3 months old, you should start feeding them at scheduled meal times, offering 4 to 5 meals per day, with 3 to 5 servings of wet food. Between 3 to 6 months, kittens should eat both wet and dry food, and you should establish a regular feeding routine with 3 meals a day and 4 to 7 cans of wet food. For kittens 6 to 12 months old, feed them twice a day, continuing with solid food, and provide 4 to 7 servings of wet food. The best time to feed your kitten is when you can create a consistent schedule. A typical pattern includes 3 meals a day, but you can adjust this based on your kitten's needs. If your kitten currently eats 5 times a day, you could add an extra meal in the afternoon and another at night. Some owners choose free feeding, which allows kittens to eat whenever they want, resembling how they would naturally nurse from their mothers. While free feeding can work for some kittens, especially younger ones, it can lead to overeating in others, resulting in obesity. As kittens grow older, particularly between 3 to 6 months, regular feeding schedules become more important to prevent excessive weight gain. Free feeding has its advantages and disadvantages. It helps younger kittens learn to self-regulate their food intake, but it can also cause overeating in older kittens. You must monitor their weight closely to ensure they don't gain too much. Overfeeding can lead to obesity, so regular meal schedules may be more beneficial as your kitten matures. Another critical consideration is what foods are safe for your kitten. Certain human foods, such as onions, garlic, chocolate, grapes, raisins, and dairy products like milk, are toxic to kittens. Raw meat, liver, fish, and eggs should also be avoided because they can contain harmful bacteria. Kittens require a diet that meets their specific nutritional needs, which are different from those of adult cats. The frequency of feeding wet food depends on the kitten's age. At around 8 weeks, a kitten may need 3 to 5 pouches of wet food per day. As the kitten grows, the number of meals decreases to 2 to 4 meals per day. If you feed both wet and dry food, you can reduce the wet food portion by half. It's important to consult the feeding instructions on the food packaging and talk to a vet if you're unsure about the right feeding routine for your kitten. In conclusion, feeding a kitten is crucial for its health and development. You should follow a feeding schedule based on their age and activity level, providing a balance of wet and dry food. Avoid feeding toxic foods, and monitor your kitten's weight to ensure they are growing properly. Free feeding can be a viable option but requires careful management to avoid overfeeding. Always consult your vet for guidance on the best feeding routine for your kitten.